What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. Madden 25. True Step. I get so many people asking me about True Step. A lot of people really ask me what I think the best Madden was. In my opinion, the best Madden was either 05 or 25. 25 near and dear to my heart. As many of you know, I actually spent a week at EA Sports prior to the release of this game providing my feedback to it. And to be honest with you, that was all done through the Game Changer program, which I never really was affiliated with. But you guys obviously realize since then, really before then as well, I've continued to give my feedback to EA through my YouTube channel about the Madden franchise. But I want to talk about locomotion, true step, and I think we have to come to an understanding that if the promises here, which in my opinion were the largest ones made by EA Sports, aren't holding true in Madden 18, then the only logical conclusion is either we were sold a product that didn't deliver, or the game has regressed. In my opinion, either of those are damaging, but it bothers me that the things that we're going to talk about today in this article, I don't see reflected in Madden 18. And I also don't see a lot of people in the community being forthright with opening these discussions up and talking about why, if the importance of the realism that's mentioned in this article was critical enough to create a technology for it, then why is it not critical enough to make sure that it's functioning in the game now to the best of its abilities? So when we take a look at this, we'll notice Victor Lugo, who in my opinion, very talented designer, no longer working in the Madden franchise, headed this. And this was also one of the first times we learned about creative director for Central Gameplay, Rex Dixon, who's now went on to larger roles within Madden. But it mentions that True Step was an all-new step-based locomotion system which calculated the steps the ball carrier took on the field, replacing the old system that they used. This would evaluate weight and momentum, desired direction with 4 times the precision, and allowed steps to be selected from hundreds of new running animations on the fly. It also talked to us about really one of the first times we were learning of the Madden team and the FIFA team working together, which continues to this day as Madden has carried over the Frostbite engine as well as FIFA, to bring those teams together and have those groups collaborate to make sure that across the board they were getting the most out of these engines. Now, when they talked about what True Step was going to affect, they say the main thing people will feel is the responsiveness and how smooth it is. You'll feel more connected to their player, and anything you do on the stick will be reflected in your player's feet and the way they move. No matter what you do with the stick, the player will respond with accurate steps and weight transfer. The game is more responsive and more realistic with running animations than ever before. They talk about the impact of this, how it's going to make the game better, feel more realistic. They talk about phase matching, and this is the most important part that I want to focus on really is they talk about after importing all these moves into the game, the team spent time making sure that the steps worked well with the ball carrier's special moves, spins, jukes, things along those lines. They collaborated with FIFA again, and they got the phase match working perfectly. There were no longer any unrealistic moves or mid-air warps in locomotion. And then they further tuned the responsiveness until it felt right. They talk about one of the key components with True Step was that every single move players do is in perfect phase. So if a player's foot is in the air, he won't be able to do a move until that foot is replanted. If the ball carrier moves look perfect on the field and eliminate instances of unrealistic reactions and timing, then they know that the responsiveness of the game and the realism of the game was going to be where it needed to be. They go on to talk about the precision modifier, obviously the learning curve that was going to follow with this, and all that has kind of went back to the wayside with Madden 18. But I also want to bring up the key goals with Madden 25. They mention an authentic feel, but also a pristine look. That they captured different types of running styles for the locomotion system and have lots of different backs represented in terms of how they chop their feet and make their cuts. So that weight, momentum, and speed rating will depend on how running backs choose their steps. Players won't have to chop their feet as much if they're running slower. Players are differentiated by the moves that they make, so certain players will have jukes and hurdles compared to others. Personally, I don't feel like the Madden that I'm playing now gives me this diversity in gameplay. I don't think I need to show you all the clips that I have over the past few months that show the players' movements and steps don't always translate on the field as to what we expect from authentic simulation football. But this to me is another giant missing feature in Madden. Something that should have continued to be evolved upon to get the game better and better each year. And yet another article where we can go back and question, is what we were sold in Madden 25, was the time, the money, the resources, the energy put into gameplay for True Step worth the endeavor? And have we graduated past that to something as good or better today? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on that. I appreciate you checking this out, and you know that I'll be back in the week with more commentary.